That was a wild tour as well.
Right.
First commercial was a Super Bowl commercial with Britney and Pepsi.
It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
I'm hearing about this toilet paper apocalypse
Right.
back home.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
everyone's like, hurry,
Hurry
come
up, get
home.
your
They're
toilet
closing the
paper and go
borders. They're
home.
closing the borders.
Right
Tell me
through
I
that.
can't do something
Yeah.
and I will
Yeah.
show you how.
The many ways that I can.
And now I'm going to be in the hot seat. Success is just a series of failures and never quitting.
And it's hard because when you are creative, the last thing you want to do is sit there and study statistics.
2006, at the height of my dance career, I started the Hollywood Summer Tour. We had 3 dancers that got scouted just from that session. So they're gonna get paid, they're gonna get a billboard, they're gonna get free merch. Life is a dance. When you hit a roadblock, just kickball, change, and pivot. Gosh, I'm
Oh, you're gonna cry. Follow your heart. It won't lead you astray.
There's gonna be people that will doubt you.
Absolutely.
But you have to ultimately believe in yourself. There's so much value in these stories that we're covering here that people need to hear. Every Sunday I release a new episode, and fast forward
100 episodes later.
100th episode.
Welcome to the Business of Dance podcast, where you'll learn what it takes to create your dream professional dance career.
Join us as we dive into the insights and experiences of the world's top dance industry professionals, including dancers, choreographers, agents, casting directors, educators, and other dance industry experts.
We explore a diverse range of topics, from personal development and mental skills to audition techniques, creating meaningful industry connections, social media marketing, seeking out dance agents and casting opportunities, on-the-job etiquette, talent unions, pitching to the media, health, finances, and so much more.
Here is your host, Menina Fortunato.
All right, welcome to the 100th episode of the Business of Dance podcast. We are in North Hollywood, California today with my dear friend Linda Ayentes, and we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to flip the script. Normally, I'm the host. I have been interviewing dozens and dozens of guests over the last couple of years, and now I'm gonna be in the hot seat.
You are.
So I'm gonna let my friend Linda take over. Her and I, we go way back to age 5, and the reason why I wanted to bring her on was she's known me the longest of all my dance friends, and we have a long history together. So I'll take it back to when we were 5.
Yes.
Flicka Gymnastics, North Vancouver. We didn't really know each other then. We were just in the same class.
Yep.
Didn't see you for a decade.
Yeah, a decade.
And then I ran into you at a dance studio called Harbor Dance Center in Vancouver.
Yes.
And I remember, first of all, I was just blown away by your dancing at the time. And then I was like,
so
you're so familiar.
Uh-huh.
And then I creeped you out one day and I was like, did you do gymnastics at Flicka?
Yep.
And you were like, yeah. And then I think we did gymnastics together. And I think you didn't really believe me. And then one day
I was like, no, she's crazy.
I found a photo that my mother took.
Yep.
And
You brought it to
I
class.
brought it to
Yeah.
class. I was like, is this you?
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah. And then anyways, we figured out that we
Yeah.
did know each other at age 5.
That's crazy.
And then from there, I mean, we were dancing together. We did competitions together. We did duos together. We did groups together. We performed around the city together. We did little gigs like opening for 98 Degrees.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I remember that.
At the
So much
Vogue
fun.
Theater?
Yep, at the Vogue Theater right across from Harbor at the time, right?
Yeah, on Granville. I remember
Yeah.
that. And then we both had big aspirations. We both wanted to do the whole dance thing. We both ended up moving to LA years later at different times. We both ended up starting families, having children, and
Parallel lives, kind
parallel
of.
like we did this thing
lot
our
of
whole
weaving.
lives.
Yeah.
And then we both have dance businesses.
Yeah.
Now you own Artístico School of Dance here in Los Angeles that you've had for several years. And then we've collaborated on so many cool things, from the Hollywood Summer Tour,
Yep.
which started in 2006.
I did
And
a
you-
decade of that, of photography.
You did photography for that. We did Universal Dance Awards. You
Yeah.
did photography for that.
It's a beautiful event.
I've been bringing clients to you for the last few years, teaching for the Hollywood Summer Tour at your studio. We even post-pandemic, when I had my mom dance fitness program, we were filming at your studio.
Good old Zoom classes.
And then we did the International Summer Tour, which you were live streaming during the lockdown for me while I was in Vancouver. And you were here.
That's right. You weren't even there. You were on the screen.
I was running the whole show with a 3-month-old baby from my bedroom.
Right.
And you were in LA with the team in LA, with the teachers in LA, and we were coordinating.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. And then our kids have been friends.
Forever.
And
I've done all your pregnancy photos.
Yes.
I've been there to shoot everything.
Every maternity shoot, headshots I've ever needed.
Headshots.
I've come to you
even when you were
years.
blonde.
Yes, I had a phase where I was blonde.
It was
like
beautiful.
blonde,
yeah,
not this blonde, but like
very
blonde.
And even when you and Sheldon met, I did your guys' little
our little couples.
Shoot.
Couples, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is Linda and I know each other very well, which is why I felt like it was suitable for you to put me in the hot seat, because we go way back and there's so many stories. And obviously the theme is the business of dance.
Right.
But I think there's so many learning lessons and takeaways that I'm hoping at least that the listeners can take away from, because as you know, life is not linear.
No.
And it is a dance. I like to say life is a dance. When you hit a roadblock, just kick, ball, change, and pivot. Because I feel like that's been our whole lives.
Yeah, it's been a journey, and you can definitely learn so much from someone's journey. And I think your journey's been really unique, original. You've kind of always gone your own way, and I've loved that about you. You always pivot. You're like the best pivoter on the planet. Kickball, change, and pivot, or just leap over something. Like, you've always given me, and me too, like with my own journey, you've given me great little pieces of advice. We always call each other, and you're always like on the phone making dinner, and we're just like, we're able to talk and kind of catch up. And you've always given me really good advice, and I feel like that's, you're great at that. That's why the business of dance is so wonderfully successful right now, and I'm so happy that you're here at the 100th episode. That's a great milestone. But I think we should start like way back at the beginning. So let's figure out how you started dancing first of all. Like, what got you into
dance?
Yeah.
Well, there's a backstory to that. So
is a backstory.
I think you know this story.
Yeah.
My parents. My mother was a choreographer in Italy in Club Med.
Yep.
She needed a dance partner. My father worked at Club Med. He was not a dancer, but she thought he was cute and asked to be a dance partner. Long story short, they fell in love. They, my mother, I like to say, imported him to Canada. Then they had me. My father he had a bunch of odd jobs, and then he did start teaching dance. And I wanted nothing to do with dance in the beginning. In fact, I hated it. I did figure skating for a little bit. I did gymnastics, which is how I met you, for a little bit. And it wasn't until one of my friends from elementary school said, I want to take your dad's jazz class.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, ew, I don't want to do that because of all the isolations. And I
Right.
was like popping the chest and hip isolations. I'm like, ew, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Long story short, she quit 3 months later. I got hooked.
Wow.
And then there was a show, I don't know if you remember Star Search with Ed
Loved
McMahon.
that show, yes.
And I remember watching Saturday nights, like 11:30 at night. I would stay up late, VHS record, watching those with my dad. And I used to mimic like all the dance moves, because that was like the America's Got Talent of that era.
Yeah.
So that was a time when Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera were on the show. And I just remember like being wow, I want to do that. So I think that was around 8 or 9 years old when I realized I actually had a passion for it.
Yeah.
Fast forward, my first paying job in dance was teaching at my father's dance studio.
How old were you?
12.
You taught at 12 years old.
I was 12.
That's amazing.
I was assistant teaching as well. So there was times where my dad had to like take a phone call and he'd be like, just go do warm up. And I would just lead the class. And then it became a situation where I was choreographing solos and duos for younger kids that I was 12 and they were maybe 8 or 9.
Wow.
So I was making $40 an hour at the time, where my friends were making $4 an hour babysitting.
Wow.
So there was already a business of dance at a very early age.
Right.
And then
Because you realized you could make money. This was,
that's how my father made a living,
Yeah.
was teaching dance. And then my mother went through this midlife crisis when I was 13. She worked for the federal government. Even though she had a passion for dance, she had the 9-to-5 job
Right.
when we were growing up. She worked for the federal government. She had the pension. She had the salary. She had the stability, if you want to call, I say stability,
safety.
the safe job, whereas my dad was independent contractor and then owned a business. But she didn't like what she was doing anymore. And that was around 40. She had that midlife crisis, and she's like, I want to start a dance competition, which you
Which
I
competed at.
and was Dancer of the Year.
Whistler, that was a beautiful competition. And we competed with all of our groups there.
Yeah, and we competed
And then
there.
I also adjudicated later on.
And then forgot that
I
part.
froze my butt off in Saskatoon with your dad. Minus 40 degrees, and he's like, nope, we're walking to the restaurant. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
I forgot that you did that.
And Alaska.
Yeah,
I went
Alaska.
to Alaska too. Scariest plane ride. The only little tiny
little propeller
plane. Yeah,
planes.
horrible. Yeah.
Then
yeah.
then the dance competition started. So then my dad thought she was nuts at the time. He's like, don't quit your job yet.
Yeah.
It was just a kind of a hobby for the first couple
Right,
of years.
yeah.
And then it started to become more fruitful. And that's when my dad started to shift and was like, okay, maybe you're on to something here.
Mm-hmm.
And these were during my teen years. So I was helping running the business
Mm-hmm.
at that time, which was my business of dance education.
Because you saw her create this ground up, like from
Completely. I was helping with registration forms, creating marketing materials. I don't even think we had a website then.
Trophies.
We were making trophies.
I remember that.
In
Yep,
the basement,
putting them together.
Putting them together.
I have a few of those in my
selling tickets. I was
in my room.
tabulator. I went backstage. I at one point became MC.
You did. Yeah, I
At
remember that.
17, I think I ran my own event with my brother without my parents. We had 2 events happen the same weekend. And I ran a full-blown competition in Penticton, BC by myself
Amazing.
at 17. And my brother was, I guess, 14, 15. 2 kids.
Wow.
And so that was my teen years. And then while also still competing at other comps as well. And then my first paid dance job was at the Peony Parade.
Oh my God, I did that too.
Were you there? Yes.
I don't think I was. I think you did it before me. I did it when we did Fire in the Night on those big.
Okay, so that was
big
after
things,
me.
and we were like tethered to the.
I did the very first year. It was
towers.
Do Not Pass Me By, MC Hammer, and Cotton Eye Joe.
No.
I was ready to like shoot me after that song played a
That's a
million
horrible
times
song.
over.
Oh my God.
Nightmares.
Cut that Joe.
Now when I hear that song competition, I'm like,
Oh no. Do they still use it? That should be banned.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in the tap category or clogging category.
Yikes. That was a fun job.
It was
in the summers.
It was a fun job. I mean, I think I made like $1,000 for the month, and I
Yeah.
thought it was great because I'm like, I get to hang out with my friends
all day
at the Peony, which is, if you don't know what, it's like a fair.
Yeah,
for
it's
those
like
that
a
don't.
Six Flags.
It's a fair, so you get to go on rides in between. You get to eat fair food, which whatever, I don't eat that anymore. Horrible food, but and then you get to hang out with friends.
You do.
And then a lot of our friendships in dance started, during that time, that era.
I think that was a nice thing about it though, because we had it was a smaller community, smaller dance community. So like
Yeah, very
everybody
small.
that were we all did the same job. So we were very close knit. But what an amazing education you had right away from the beginning to see your dad come and didn't know how to dance, and he created a dance studio. He actually had 2, didn't he?
He had 2. He had one in North Van and
Right.
one in Maple Ridge.
Incredible. And then your mom to do the same thing, but with the dance competition. So you had such a hands-on education. This wasn't like learning from books and like theoretically. It was
Real life.
practical, real life. So that must have influenced you now, because you're not afraid to just pick something up and make it happen, which is awesome.
Well, I saw my parents do it.
Yeah.
It was my mother had these, her crazy idea. So, and she went through the midlife crisis. And fast forward, we'll get to that part later. But
Yeah.
I felt like I kind of went through the same thing around the same time. It was really bizarre how that happened. But they did show me that you can take an idea and conceptualize it and actually
Make it happen.
Without waiting for permission for somebody to make it happen for you. So that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing. The game of hustling, I definitely learned from my parents.
Absolutely.
They had an idea, they made it happen. It wasn't like,
No excuses.
oh, I wish of the day, I hope someone would discover me and do the thing. No, it was just like, okay, I want to do it. How do I do it? Let's figure it out. And that's all I knew. And then, so we're in the teen years at this point. So 16, graduating high school, I went to Simon Fraser University, which I'll be honest, I did not enjoy my experience. I only went because of the social pressure.
Right.
I had a little bit of scholarship money. All my friends were going to school. It was the thing to do. My parents like, you're going to school, you're getting an education.
Getting a degree.
And I was like, okay, fine. So I went for 3 years, but I was that kid in school that was just like daydreaming of like, I just want to move to LA and dance and do the thing. And then I did get an opportunity. I was assisting an old friend who was choreographing for Brighton McClure. For those that don't know, that was from the TV show Family Matters. I don't know if you remember Little Richie.
I do remember, yeah.
And I told them my situation. I was like, I'd love to live and work and dance. And they ended up being my petitioner. So they sponsored me.
Amazing.
They were signed to Universal Polydor Records for 3 years. So I got my visa also for 3 years.
Wow.
But there's a whole story with the visa. So I was 18 when I met them. And at that point, I found out there was an immigration attorney here in Los Angeles, Santa Monica. I met with them in the office. I'm 18 years old. What do I know about immigration law? I'm like sitting here like, I just want to live and work here. How do I do that?
I just want to go there. Tell me how.
He told me all these different options. And I was like, okay, I guess this O1 visa is the path I want to go. And I'm like, what do I need? He gave me a list of all the things I need. I was like, okay, cool. So I told my parents, I'm like, Mom, Dad, I need $2,000 for this immigration attorney. And they were like, what?
No.
Crazy? No, we're not spending $2,000.
Go back to school.
And I don't think you're going to get your visa because actually one of our dance teachers applied and got denied.
Right. It was like this mythical thing that you couldn't get.
Nobody knew how to get this thing, this work visa. We didn't have the access of information. I didn't know any dancers other than Kelly Kono that was dancing for Janet Jackson at the time. She was the only dancer I'd ever heard of. And I honestly didn't even know how she got it because I wasn't even friends with her at the time. So it was this big mystery of like, how do you do it? And then I also later found out that the immigration attorney, shout out to Kevin Levine, I was his second dancer case ever.
Oh, wow.
And he is now the go-to guy for
all
dancers.
Yes.
They all go to him. All the agents go to him. I was his second case. And I remember, I'll never forget, I said, if you help me get this visa, I'm going to tell everybody about you.
And you did.
And I did. And I did. And everything, honestly, the agents didn't know about him. I knew about him first before the agents did, before they notified their clients. I was his second dancer case, successful case. And anyways, to backtrack, I'm all over the place. To backtrack with the visa, my parents completely shut it down.
Yeah.
So I was like, fine, I'm just going to do it myself. So with the one-track mind that I had, I saved my own money from teaching.
Oh, wow.
I put the money aside.
I didn't know that. I thought that they paid for that. You did that.
No, I paid for it with my teaching money. I paid him quietly. I had to get all these letters of references and all of that. So I was reaching out.
All the newspaper clippings.
All the magazine articles, newspaper clippings, the contracts, pay stubs, any evidence that I could gather to prove that I'm in the top in my industry, top 5%, whatever, of the industry. And this was a time where we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have
anything, like any social media.
I had a website, okay? Yeah. Which at that time was like unheard of. So that was my only online presence, was my website.
Incredible.
And so here's this immigration attorney who knows nothing about dance, who's judging you based on pieces of paper.
Right.
That's how they judged you at the time. And looking for those credibility markers, trying to, like, are you a high paid person anyway? So long story short, it took me a year and a half, maybe a couple years almost, to get it all officially approved. And I got approved a few days before Christmas. And I remember I called my parents. I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm moving to LA. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I got my work visa and I have an agent.
So did they know that you had paid him?
No.
They didn't?
No.
This was all...
No.
Surprise.
This is all me on the DL. Like, that's
oh my gosh.
I know. The thing with my family is they will rain on your parade. So sometimes it's best to work quietly.
Right.
And I've actually learned that in a lot of the big decisions I've made, even Business of Dance, I work quietly in the beginning.
Right.
So I worked quietly. The people that I reached out to obviously knew, but I didn't officially tell my parents what I was doing until I surprised them on Christmas. Merry Christmas! I'm moving to LA. I got my work visa. I got an agent, and then that's when they finally took me seriously.
Really?
And I dropped out of college, so sorry, I did not finish. I did go back to school, but that's another story. I didn't finish.
Yeah, I didn't either. I did the same. I went to UBC and I was like, this is not what I want to do. And it's hard because when you are creative, the last thing you want to do is sit there and study statistics and math. And
I didn't even have a declared
me
major.
neither.
I was like, let me try communications, let me try Spanish, let me try French, let me try
But
psychology.
the thing is, you were incredibly smart. You had a scholarship. I had a scholarship. Like we were capable. It's just, it wasn't
I was
our
capable,
path.
but it didn't
It's
light my
not-
fire.
Exactly.
Like I didn't want to be there, and it was
Exactly.
like I just wanted to dance,
Exactly.
and my heart was not in it.
Yeah.
And I did go back to school many years later, and I actually did intend on finishing. I'm actually 4 credits away.
Oh my gosh.
But there's a whole story behind that too. I've never needed the degree.
No.
And this is the hard part. And I know parents listening might not like this to hear
Mm-hmm.
this. But the industry and the game has completely changed. You know, in my parents' generation, maybe grandparents' generation, you needed that piece of paper to get a good job.
to get a high-paying job.
But during those times, people would get one career. They would
Stick with that.
stick with that for 30 years at a
Right.
company,
Retire.
then retire. You know, that was the quote unquote American or Canadian dream,
yeah.
you know? So, but the times have changed, and
Absolutely.
even today, it's just not the same landscape. And I even, ironically, was an advisor for a BFA commercial dance program here in LA that's no longer around. But at the time, I was an advisor for the program because of my real world experience, not because of the piece of paper that I never got.
Right, absolutely. There's no comparison to real world experience rather than like studying it in books. And even if you study it, when you go into the real world, it's not the same. A lot of people get flustered because like, that's not what I learned. I'm like, it's not what I learned. Why isn't this happening exactly how it was? You know?
I learned some good life skills out of it. I mean, I learned how to meet deadlines.
Right.
I
Scheduling,
learned how to
deadlines,
schedule. I learned
study.
how to keep a commitment. Well, keep the commitment for the semester, but
Right.
I know I learned time management. I
Yes.
learned how to debate. I learned how to state an argument. I remember state your claim and support it by evidence. So now even if you watch me on social media, if
You
I ever
do that.
debate, I'm like, state my claim and here's my evidence. So in that regard, I'm thankful for,
Yeah.
but I just wasn't studying anything that really lit my fire at the time. So,
Absolutely.
okay, I'm all over the place. Let's go backtrack. Where are we? We're getting the visa.
We're
okay?
getting the visa. You got the visa.
I got the visa.
Merry Christmas,
I'm
you
20.
got it,
Merry
yes.
Christmas.
And now you're heading to Los Angeles.
And I'm going to move to LA. My intent was to move to LA at the end of the season of dance because I was still committed to teaching.
Right.
So I wanted to finish out my season, be able to save my pennies because I moved I was planning to move in July. So there was a little story before July, which I have to share. May, I was just visiting. I was here for a week. I told my agents I'm here for a week. I went to a bunch of auditions that week, one of which was for Christina Milian. She was opening for NSYNC. And the audition was with Brian Friedman. He was the choreographer. They ended up switching choreographers to Showtime. And I got the call from my agent. They're like, they would like to book you. And we need you in rehearsal, I don't know, maybe it was like a Monday. And I got the call like on a Friday. So I'm like scrambling, telling all the studios, I'm finding replacements and packing my life. And I'm like, I'm going on tour with NSYNC. I was all excited.
Oh my gosh.
I show up to Millennium, the Dome, which is no longer
Right.
around. And they're like, what are you doing here? And your agent said you were in Canada. And I go, I was.
But now I'm here.
But I'm here because I was called in for rehearsal. Oh, I'm so sorry. We replaced you. And replaced me with one of my dear friends. Actually, I don't know if you remember, Lindsay Blaufarb.
Yes.
We met at Urban Jam with her.
Yes.
And
oh my
I mean, I'm
God.
so happy for
her,
her,
but at
but
the
I
same
was
time-
crushed for myself. And I was like, that was my first
No.
paid booking in LA.
That's a huge booking.
And I was like, I made the mistake of telling the whole world
Right.
at the time. My ego was crushed. I was like fighting tears. And I was like, can I just stay to learn some choreography for the day? Because I flew all the way out here. They're like, yeah, you can. And I remember dancing my heart out, hoping that maybe they'll change their mind. Maybe they'll like add another dance. I'm like, is there a budget to add another dancer? And she was a newer artist at the time. So they're
Right.
like, we don't have a budget for another dancer. So
Oh, that sucks.
they let me go, and I had to turn right back around. I asked for my jobs back. I'm like, sorry, I'm back for another 2 months.
You went back.
I went
you
back
didn't
home.
stay. Oh my
I went back
gosh, that's
home.
heartbreaking.
Yeah, because I didn't actually have an official place
job
to
or
live
live,
yet. because the original plan was July.
Right.
So, well, I went back to the original plan. I moved in July, like I intended, into North Hollywood, actually where we are today, in an apartment I'd never seen till the day I moved in, with a roommate that I never met until the day I
on
moved
the edge.
in. Turned out to be actually probably one of my best roommates that I've ever had.
Amazing.
And I've had many, and she was fantastic. My little I had my own bedroom, bathroom, and walk-in closet, which I'd never had in my life, and a pool
Wow.
for
Nice.
$375 a month.
$375. That is a Whole Foods,
That's
run.
one trip to the grocery
That's
store.
one trip, yeah.
So
Wow.
that's how I started my LA journey. I came with my car, my clothes, computer, CDs. That was
Love
important.
the CDs. Got to
My
bring
CD
those.
collection and a big dream.
Amazing.
And then fast forward a month later, I had a direct booking with Paula Abdul, thanks to my agent, Bill Bull, at the time.
Wow.
And that, for me, was kind of a dream come true because
She's
she was
an
my
idol.
first concert when I was 12 in Vancouver.
Oh my gosh.
So that was really cool. It was only a one-day gig. And then fast forward a month later, I auditioned for the Britney Spears World Tour auditions. And that was my first really big open call. Hundreds of people lined up. They did a typecast. They lined us up. Thank you, please stay. I made it through 2 long days of auditions, made it to the final cut, maybe 30 dancers left. I did not book the tour, but that's what booked the Britney Spears Pepsi commercials.
Commercial for the Super Bowl.
That came out on the Super Bowl. My
That's right.
first commercial was a Super Bowl commercial with Britney and Pepsi. Doesn't get much better than that.
Does
They don't make
not.
commercials like that anymore.
Do you still get residuals from those?
No, that lasted for maybe a year and a half of residuals. But I mean, I
Incredible.
made a good $35,000 on 10 days of
Not
work.
too shabby for your first gig.
When
out
my
here.
rent is $375 a month, I'm like, great, I can
I'm
live.
set.
I can live. I'm like, I don't have to work for the rest of the year.
Right.
I'm good. I was young, so at the time that was a lot of money, and that was kind of the beginning of the LA journey. There's so much more to that, but yeah, that's
I
how.
remember hearing about that and just being like, wow, she did it. It was incredible. And then I remember seeing your headshots, and you look so different because, Vancouver,
LA look.
Menina to the LA look was so different. I remember your eyebrows were like so. I love those, and they were black and white headshots. I remember.
Yes.
With the stapled on
Yeah.
resume on the back.
Yeah.
So then what happened after the?
So this was
Commercial.
2001. We shot the commercial. 2002 it aired. My first tour happened shortly after. That was Earth, Wind, and Fire,
That's
which
right.
legends. I mean, I was with them for a year, and that was a great first tour. I mean, they're icons, they're legends. We had Lenny Kravitz come to the show. Chris Tucker came to the show.
Oh, wow. Some big audience members there.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you get nervous?
I mean, like anything, you get nervous before you go on stage.
Yeah.
The moment you get on stage, and it's like poof, nothing.
Adrenaline.
Yeah, no, I mean that was a great first tour. Honestly, that time in my life was a bit of a blur from that point until 2009. That was just gig after gig. I was judging competitions, teaching at conventions, doing TV shows, Star Trek Enterprise. I guess started
Right.
on that. I was a green alien. That led to a whole thing of trading cards and video games and comic strips and sci-fi appearances in Germany and England and Vegas. And so that was a whole episode of my life. And then I worked on Mad TV for 6 seasons as a dancer.
I didn't know that. Mad TV.
Yeah.
Wow.
Moni Adamson, she was the choreographer. I ended up assisting one episode. We did a bunch of spoofs. I loved working on Mad TV. The actors are hilarious.
That's not around anymore. It's like an SNL.
No, it was SNL was the direct competitor. It was the LA show. SNL was the New York show. And then I was Jennifer Gardner's dance double on
remember
Alias.
that, yeah.
That was 2005.
She was a sweetheart.
She was a very, very nice person. I remember it was Valentine's Day. She was dating Ben Affleck at the time. She invited me into her trailer. We were taking photos, and we were just talking about, like, what are your plans for tonight? And, our boyfriends, we were talking about our boyfriends, and that was 2005. It was Valentine's Day. I vividly remember that.
And you went on another tour.
I did. I was on tour with Luis Miguel, who I did not even know who he was at the time. people knew him as Mariah Carey's boyfriend, but he's like the Frank Sinatra of Mexico.
I didn't even know they dated.
Yeah.
Wow.
They dated when my husband was on tour with Mariah. So he was on
That's
tour with
crazy,
Mariah,
and
he
you were-
saw Luis Miguel while they were on tour. I was on tour with Luis Miguel, and
Did
then
you see Mariah?
we didn't see Mariah because they were done at the time. He was dating somebody else at the time, Araceli, who we had babies with. But yeah, I was on tour with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Then Luis Miguel, then Rain, who is a huge K-pop star. Before this whole K-pop craze, he was
The
one. Like, we had our own plane wrapped with Rain's World Tour. We had Korean Airlines our sponsor. That was a wild tour as well because he has the most loyal, incredible fan base.
Right.
Like, nobody warned me. I'm like exhausted, jet lag, coming off the plane in Hong Kong. And there's hundreds of screaming fans with signs and paparazzi, and everyone's like, ah! And I was the token. That's when I was blonde.
You were blonde back then.
Jamie King, shout out to Jamie King, made me go blonde. I was the token white girl. Everybody thought I looked like Madonna at the time.
So
and
funny. Everyone wanted pictures with you because you
they
had blonde
wanted
hair.
photos
Yeah.
because I had blonde hair, because Asians have this infatuation with blonde hair. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not real. It's just
It's
dyed.
just dyed.
But I
You
can
can
still
do it
touch
too.
it. I still touch. I had people were like wanting
Do
to
they?
pet my
Oh my
hair.
God.
Yeah, it was funny. And then they would like follow us to our hotel. They would follow us to the venue. They'd follow us to whatever club for the after party afterwards. So yeah, that was a wild time, and I mean it was fun. I mean the production was amazing because it was Jamie King, creative director, Carla Kama was assisting him, Tone and Rich were choreographing, Aquaman Jones was also choreographing, and this was. I mean, it was a world tour. We were mostly predominantly Asia. We did go into Australia. So that was another big tour. And then fast forward, my last tour was Nuclear Cowboys, which was a motocross show. I didn't know anything about motocross either.
Oh, wow.
So it was funny. All these tours were never tours that I, like, they were never on the bucket list.
Right.
I didn't-
artists you wanted to
Like,
work with.
never thought I
Yeah.
would tour with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, that's my parents' generation.
Yeah, exactly.
I was the baby of that tour. Luis Miguel didn't even know who he was.
Right, and then Rain.
Rain, I didn't even know who he was, nor did I realize
international.
how big he was
Yeah.
until I went to Asia. And then Nuclear Cowboys, I'm like, motocross? I'm like, what's
What?
that? There's like these flying bikes around us. I'm like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
So to make a long story short, because I could go on and on about that whole period of my life, that was the height of my dance career. I had a good little over a decade run
Amazing.
of just performing, gigging, auditioning, squeezing in, teaching, judging, all the things. And then I got pregnant on the tour.
I remember
So
actually on a phone call with you because you were saying that didn't they let you go?
they did.
Yeah.
They did. So I kept it hush hush. I
Mm-hmm.
only told one, my roommate, on tour. But people started suspecting because I wasn't drinking. Everybody was drinking. I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I guess at some point I had a little bump, like a little bump.
Mm-hmm.
And I could feel like the heat, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want to lose my job.
Right.
You know, and I wasn't showing for the longest. And I guess, I didn't think so, but I guess during the show, maybe certain body movement, maybe the little
could
bit,
see it.
a little bit. So they pulled me aside and they let me go. I was 4 months pregnant at the time. I was devastated. They didn't give me any warning either. It was like after a show, they sat me down and they let me go. And I remember just bawling. And I think people were talking, but nobody just flat out asked me.
Right.
But I didn't also volunteer that because it was very personal and I was very private about it because I still was trying to navigate this whole thing. Because even during that time too, I don't know if you knew, but I auditioned for So You Think You Can Dance Canada in Vancouver, and I made it to the finals for Toronto.
Oh, wow.
And I was supposed to go, but then to the Toronto finals, but then they pushed it back. And at that point, I was very pregnant, so I had to completely withdraw from the show, which was kind of one of those bucket list things I really wanted to do. So You Think You Can Dance Canada.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a chance to do that, but yeah, after the tour, then I was like, what do I do? Like, all I know is dance.
Right.
And I wanted to just dance for fitness purposes, but there was no actual dance programs for pregnant women at the time.
There wasn't.
There was yoga, there was belly dance, but not like the commercial jazz funk, whatever you want to call it. So
So your wheels
my
started
mind
spinning
is spinning
and
like,
You did not only give birth to a child, but you gave birth to something else.
So I birthed something else called Prenatal Dance with Menina, which is actually still on Amazon. I don't promote it anymore. But yeah, that was kind of my project for the last few months. I brought in a group of women. I trained them for a month. They learned all the workouts. We recorded it, and then I released it on DVD. I didn't know anything about it.
You had DVDs.
I had DVDs.
I remember because you took me to, it was a small gallery in Santa Monica. I think I was pregnant at the time, and we both went to this event, and you were giving out your DVDs.
I was.
remember that.
It was like a promo baby shower or something that I did. I forgot you were there.
I was there.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I remember the top I wore because I was like stressing out. I'm like, I'm pregnant. What am I going to wear? And then, we both went and you were giving out your DVDs. I remember you're on there in that orange little outfit. And
gosh, now I got to look up photos.
So,
I'm like, what was I wearing?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
really cool.
that was my little project, little pet project.
Yeah.
Now, hold on. I totally missed a very important part. 2006, at the height of my dance career, I started the Hollywood Summer Tour.
You started back then?
2006.
Wow.
So we're in 2026, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary.
Amazing.
So the Hollywood Summer Tour was I call it my first baby, not my human baby, my first baby. Because at the time, people were coming to me for advice on how do I get a work visa?
Right.
Where do I get my headshots done? How do I get
that
an agent?
unicorn that made it all the way to
So
LA.
everybody started like picking my brain,
Yep.
and then I was teaching at an intensive, and someone's like, you should create a program teaching all this stuff. I was like, maybe I should. So I did. Another idea I'm like, let me
in there.
And it was just a summer event, and I recruited dancers out of my family's competition, 5, 6, 7, 8 Showtime for the first year.
Right, you would give out scholarships.
I gave out partial scholarships. That's how I recruited dancers. And then that became my annual summer event. That's it's still to this day one of my favorite dance events that I do.
So much fun.
We do classes, we do agency showcase, we do photo shoots, which you did for many years. Sightseeing, Disneyland, Santa Monica Beach, Beverly Hills, Hollywood and Highlands, seminars, music video shoots, demo reel shoots. It's like the ultimate crash course
experience,
of what it is to be a commercial dancer in LA.
Yeah.
That was what that project was. And I did that for many, many years. So I won't get to the fast forward part. Let me go back to baby, new life, mom.
Yes.
I tried to go back to auditioning. That was a big challenge because I was breastfeeding, and I remember bringing my husband with me to auditions. He would sit in the car. I'd breastfeed right before the audition. I'd go into the audition.
Oh, wow. That's
she didn't take a bottle. She didn't eat food yet. So he'd be like texting me like, she's screaming, I don't know what to do. Hurry up.
by myself with a crying kid.
And then sometimes if it went too long, the auditions, and I'd be engorged or I'd be leaking, I'd be uncomfortable. And of course, I'm stressed out over what's going on in the car with baby. And then I was not fully present at my auditions.
How do you do that? That's like
I
torture.
was mentally like not there. I was physically there and not there at the same time. But I thought I could go back because physically I was actually in decent shape at the time.
I remember. You were
so physically
right
I could do it, but my lifestyle didn't allow it.
Yeah.
So that's when I started to kind of pivot more a little bit in production. I worked a little bit on America's Got Talent on the creative team, and then a little bit on X Factor on the creative team. And that's when I started producing more music videos, which we did at Universal Studios and Paramount Studios. So and then I would bring my daughter and then eventually family to set.
Yeah.
And you were on set and your family was on set.
Yes.
So like it became a family affair. It was a family production. So I pivoted more into that space. And I did that for many years while still judging and teaching competition. I mean, I still dabbled in a little bit of here and there. But it wasn't until my daughter started kindergarten here in LA. First of all, we got robbed. Our house got robbed, and then we started kindergarten, and I just remember...
Was that here, or you were in Vancouver
already?
Here, and you got robbed.
Yeah, our house got broken into here. Jeez. I was in Portugal with the kids. My husband was at the gym, We got robbed. He came home. It was this big thing.
I remember this, and then insurance wouldn't cover
and
any of it.
insurance wouldn't cover it because our stories
that.
didn't align. Because I'm like, well, I was in
here,
Portugal. He was there. Of course,
yeah,
it doesn't align. They denied the claim. They suspected that somehow we were behind it, which was a whole thing.
You robbed your own house.
Yeah, like I robbed my own house, and they took all my jewelry and of my grandmother that I've been collecting for years.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that was a whole ordeal. That shook us up, and that's when my husband's like, we're moving. We got to get out of here. And so we put our house on the market. We sold it in a week.
Wow.
And then we're like, okay, so where are we going to go? So already I was feeling a bit anxious. My daughter just started kindergarten that year, which also was an experience because I went to the only LAUSD French immersion school in the city, in Culver City. I lived in the Valley. So it was an hour and a half, depending on traffic. So that commute was a challenge. Then, no disrespect to the school districts, but they were underfunded. The teachers are underpaid. Yeah. There's no school gymnasium. There's no grassy field. Like all things that we grew up.
Absolutely.
We grew up in public school. So I was like, and then I learned here you have to send your kid to private school, and I'm like, that's $20,000 for kindergarten. 25, 30 grand for kindergarten. I'm like, what do they learn in kindergarten? I'm like, okay, this is crazy expensive if I want to do a private school. This public school thing is not really ideal. We just got robbed. We sold our house. We are homeless, don't know where to go. So we ended up buying 2 lots of land. And the dream was to build 2 homes, sell one, live mortgage free, and come back and be able to live there. But then we're going to move temporarily back to Vancouver.
A temporary move, yes. I remember that.
So that was 2016.
Still going, this temporary situation. I'm waiting for you to come back.
So that was supposed to be a year thing because we were like, we couldn't find a place to live fast enough. And then my husband knew I always wanted to live in Vancouver. He's like, okay, I'll compromise. I'll give you 1 year. I was like, okay. So, and then I sent my daughter to French public school, which was,
free
and nice and great education. I was like, okay, this is what I was expecting that I didn't get here, that apparently I had to spend $30,000 a year for. But that's another conversation.
Yeah.
So, that was a temporary move.
Right.
And, well, we're still in Vancouver.
Still there.
But my business is technically still here. So, hence why I'm even here now. Like, I go back and forth.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. So I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm straddling both countries, both, cities, and anyway. So I do occasionally come out to work here and do projects here and all of that. But I realized very quickly that my lifestyle, having a family, it's just, I wanted something different. I wanted a little bit more of a quote unquote normal upbringing because things like healthcare and education and safety, those things as a parent start to matter. And then I had baby number 2 and then I had baby number 3 in 2020. Mm-hmm. So I realized over time, like, this is really where I want to plant my flag. My husband still has this fantasy that we're going to come back, though, but that's another conversation.
Is he happy there? He's like,
oh, no, he wants to come back here.
He does.
But he's in love with the old LA.
Oh,
he's in love with the old LA. The LA before we had children. The LA before the homeless crisis was like out of control.
Right.
The LA
and the prices were
more affordable. Like that's what he was in love with. But again, off topic, business of dance.
Yes. So, business of dance.
So this brings us to...
Well, you have HST, and now all of a sudden...
Nothing,
because 2020 happens.
So 2020 happened. I was actually in the middle of producing the London Spring Tour, which was another annual event I did in the spring. We were in London when the lockdown began.
I remember that.
So
you're like, what do I do?
I was supposed to go to an event called Move It, which is a massive convention with like 30,000 attendees. We set up our booth that afternoon. We get we see the notice on social media. The event is canceled. After we just set up. And meanwhile, we were shooting a music video as well that afternoon, and the streets just suddenly became dead. And we were shooting the street. I'm like, this is great. If we have the whole London to ourselves, we can shoot. I'm hearing about this toilet paper apocalypse back home. I'm like, everyone's like, hurry come home. They're closing They're closing the borders. So it was like, everyone was panicking. I'm like, what's wrong with everybody? What's like everybody freaking out over? So we ended up finishing the event. We got really creative. We couldn't go to move it, so we ended up hosting a workshop. Some people ended up showing up. We improvised. I brought in some of the Move It guests because people were flown in from other parts.
Right.
So we ended up doing a little panel discussion with my clients. So we definitely
made something
we
out of
made
nothing.
something out of nothing. Like when life gives you lemon, you make lemonade.
Right.
So we made some lemonade, and then we went into lockdown. Meanwhile, I'm 9 months or 8.5 months pregnant at the time.
Aw.
So we go into our 2-week quarantine,
Mm-hmm.
and I was excited at first. I was like, "Ooh,
yes,
we get
I
to
get
stay
a
home,
break,
we get a
vacation
break."
time.
And then I'm like, I get to get nesting. I'm having baby number 3.
Yeah.
April of 2020 is when I had my son, my baby number 3, and I was prepared to stay home for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I was okay staying home for 2 months,
Right.
but definitely not 2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
So that really shook up my world. That summer, we were supposed to do the next Hollywood Summer Tour,
HST. Yeah.
which you know as HST.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was like, oh, I guess this event
It's not
can't
happening.
happen. So we got to pivot. Everyone's pivoting online. I didn't even
Right.
know how to use Zoom.
None of us did.
I was like, how do I do this? So I had this crazy idea of, kickball change and pivot.
Right. Kickball change.
I'm
Let's do
like,
it.
so I'm going to call it the International Summer Tour. We're going to live stream in London, Vegas, LA, and Vancouver. I'm producing all of this with a 3-month-old baby
Yeah.
in my bedroom. I get a whole backdrop set up so you didn't even know I was in my bedroom. It looked like a professional studio.
Right.
I'm communicating with my teams and you were my LA team.
Yeah.
And we were, live streaming. I was Zooming, and I, again, still didn't know what I was doing. And my clients actually had a great time.
It was great.
But I didn't know what I was doing, and I definitely didn't make any money. If anything, I lost a lot of money because
Yeah.
it was way more expensive than I anticipated. So then it was like, okay, so what do we do from here? I'm stuck at home with 3 kids, 2 dogs, a husband, can't travel,
Time
can't.
to get in shape.
And then I'm like, I just had a baby. So I'm like,
Let's.
in business, I'm always thinking, what problem can I solve?
Right.
And I'm like, well, I got to solve my own problem. I need to get back into shape. I'm stuck at home. What can I do? Dance is the only thing I know and love. So I create this whole postnatal dance program with my son. He was
So
my...
you have a prenatal program.
We have
now you have a postnatal
program.
program. What's next?
So I was getting in shape at home with my son. I started off with Zoom classes, which honestly, that was chaotic because
Yeah.
you have a live prop, your baby is
Yeah.
your partner, screaming bloody murder. You cannot do anything.
You're like, I'm just trying to sit up. Come on, child.
You're Zooming with live mothers. They're also dealing with their chaos at their home, but they
Yeah.
can mute themselves.
Exactly.
I can't. I have to actually keep going.
Right.
So I'm like, pacifier, toy.
Rocking.
I'm like, okay, we're going to pick up. We're going to do some squats. We're going to, so that was, and then
Oh
I
my
also
God.
remember at the time, like I was promoting this online. Everybody was stuck at home. I was like begging people to come for class. Like I was like, a free introductory class.
I think my sister even did part of it.
I think she
Yeah,
did.
'cause
Yes, she
had
did. I
just
was-
had a baby.
I
And you're
was like,
do
anybody,
this.
baby. I'm like, just come, just come.
take the class.
I'm like, I'm feeling lonely. I need to work out with somebody. I'm like,
Yeah.
even anyway. So I wasn't making any money, and it got hard.
This is a subscription? Or
I
just
started
like
off with like a 6-week postnatal dance challenge, and then I did a whole 6-month Super Moms boot camp, and that's when I brought you in because then I was like, well, I'm going to bring in guest teachers, and then you started filming
the salsa,
classes from your
yeah.
studio with guest teachers and with you, and
You had gyrotronics on there. You had like
we
all
had
kinds of stuff,
gyrotonics and Pilates and salsa and hip hop and jazz and stretch and strength and all these.
so
like,
many great classes.
It was actually as a product, it was a good product.
It was a great product.
But
yeah.
I felt like it was a really noisy market where there's a million.
Because everything was online then.
Everything was
So it's
online.
like you
There's a
could-
million fitness programs. So I'm like trying to compete with the Pelotons of the world. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not working. So I did that for 2 years. I was mentally I was struggling because I felt like I lost my identity. I'm like, I went from where I was in my career to feeling like I'm begging people to take my class for free,
Yeah.
barely making $500 a month, completely depleted my savings, ruined my credit. It was a sinking ship. And I was, online, I was putting a smile on my face.
Of course. Yeah.
I was gritting my teeth, doing what I can. And then 2022,
And things started opening up
things
again.
started to open up. So I finally got to the Hollywood Summer Tour again.
Yeah.
But I had a big problem. The people that had paid me in 2021 and 2020 because I allowed them to carry their credit over.
Oh.
Suddenly I needed to produce an event with money I'd already spent.
Oh, shoot.
So if you're a producer, you understand how detrimental this is. So I'm like, I had a little bit of new registration, but not enough to cover. And this is where my back was against the wall. And I remember just total desperation. I was like, I need a solution. I was joining all these Facebook groups. I'm like, high ticket coaching, sales, something, online marketing. And I got this DM who ended up becoming my business coach. And I had no money. And I remember investing a significant amount in this coach. And I'm like, I need help. And I'm like, not only do I need to make my investment back, I need to double it in the next 30 days.
Wow. Like right now.
So I was like, what do I need to do? Like, let's go.
Teach me.
So I was like tunnel vision. And this is where I worked quietly.
Yeah.
Did not tell my family. I didn't even tell my husband what I was doing.
Oh, wow.
Because everyone would freak out if they knew what I invested, considering the fact that I was dead broke. Like I didn't even, like this was the idea to because I didn't even have a credit card to pay for it. I didn't have anything. I couldn't get a loan. I had zero money to my name at the time. And I was like, what can I do to get this money together? So I did a promotion for the Hollywood Summer Tour where you could double your scholarship, because most dancers got $500, double your scholarship if you paid in full by next week. So in that week, I made $30,000.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to use that portion of that money to invest in this business coach.
So they just paid you ahead of time kind of thing.
Yeah. So instead of the usual just pay a deposit.
Right.
Because my deadline wasn't until, this was May. My deadline for the deposit was until June. I wasn't supposed to get fees until July.
Got it.
Because I remember telling my coach, I'm like, well, I'm going to get some money in July. And he's like, well, how can we get creative and make money now? And I'm like, well, I don't have a deadline coming up. He's like, well, why don't you create a promotion?
Like an incentive.
And I was like, he's like, how can you get money now? So that was the idea. And I made $30,000 that week. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to take a portion of that. I'm going to invest it in myself. And I have to double my money in 30 days. And I did.
Amazing.
And this was selling my Super Moms boot camp. I was still doing that at the time.
Oh.
Business of Dance didn't exist yet. I was still doing my Super Moms boot camp. So fast forward, I do the Hollywood Summer Tour, but then I'm like, okay, I had barely enough to run the event, and I was like ultra low budget everything, and then I was like, but what am I going to do after? And that's when again the creative juices started to flow.
A light bulb moment.
Aha moment. My husband kept telling me, and I'll give him credit. He kept saying, Menina, this whole mom dance fitness. He's like, you're great, but that's not your superpower. That's not your gift. Your gift is the business of dance. Your gift is helping other dancers with their careers.
Yeah.
That's what your gift is. To create an online program. I'm like, what am I going to do? I hate teaching Zoom dance classes.
Yeah.
Teaching dance on Zoom is the most
horrible.
awkward way to learn. Everybody is out of sync.
Kills your soul.
You can't focus on the dancing or teaching. You're like looking at these little cubicles, little squares,
and they're like lagging, so you don't even know if
they're delayed.
The music.
You don't even know if they're musicality.
No,
Anyways, so I was like, I don't want to do Zoom dance classes. I knew I did, and there were so many online dance class type programs.
Already.
I'm like, I don't want to compete with that. And I was like, well, what can I do that nobody is doing? I'm like, nobody's teaching the business of dance. But I was already doing it somewhat with the Hollywood Summer Tour. The Hollywood Summer Tour is the what. What do you need in order to pursue a career in dance?
Headshots,
resumes, demo reels, websites,
audition.
casting. So we talk about in the Hollywood Summer Tour, we talk about that.
Right.
But I don't actually have time to show them how to do it.
To apply everything
To
that
actually.
they have. Yeah.
So the business of dance is the how-to. So in that event, on the fly, I created a Canva presentation. And I used my coach's presentation model. Like I followed his structure and I tweaked it, Canva presentation. And I was like, well, I'm going to teach a business of dance workshop at the end of the Hollywood Summer Tour. I'm going to pitch it. I've never pitched in my life, like a live pitch. And see who bites. If somebody bites, then maybe I go with this. And if nobody does, well, whatever. I just created a Canva presentation. So I did. I pitched it. I had this, fast action. If you, register in the next 24 hours, you get major discount, blah, blah, blah. And I made $17,000 on that day.
Amazing.
So going from barely making $500 a month to barely having enough pennies, scraping pennies to produce a Hollywood summer tour, suddenly, da-ding,
Yeah, money coming
17K.
in.
So 5 clients that day said yes. And really just out of faith and out of belief and trust that
Yeah.
I could guide them. I had an outline. I didn't have any lessons created yet.
So this was like your test group. This was beta.
This was my beta group. This is my beta group. I started with 5, and then I spent the following month online getting another 5. So I started with 10, and it was in October, I believe, of 2022. Yeah, 3 years ago. So yeah, 3 years ago. Like,
Incredible.
yeah, we're October. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly 3 years.
3 years ago. Oh my gosh.
Probably to the day.
Close. Actually, probably go
Middle
back.
of
It was
October.
probably mid-October.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
probably. So I started with my beta 10, and I built the program with them. I had an outline of what I intended to teach, but then they gave me ideas as we went. They're like, oh,
they
I want to
need,
learn this.
questions.
I want to learn that. And then they started asking me stuff that I didn't know. And I was like, well, I guess I need to hire an expert. I brought in a tax specialist. I brought in an investment advisor. I brought in a nutritionist. I brought in a college advisor. So I started bringing in people that had expertise outside of my expertise.
Right.
Because I know what I know, but I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. So I brought in guests, and then I started interviewing people. I started bringing people on as a part of guest speakers to interact,
to them.
to speak to my mentees, do Q&As, and all of that. So fast forward, I have to give a shout out to Vincent Patterson, who,
Oh, wow.
if people that don't know, he was Madonna, Michael Jackson's choreographer and director for many years. Everybody knows Smooth Criminal,
Yeah.
the famous Lean. He directed and choreographed that music video, and he did the Vogue before Madonna and Express Yourself. And anyways, a lot of iconic work. I did have a pleasure of working with him as a dancer many years ago. But I did his interview, and he's like, is this going to be a podcast episode? He's like, this was really good.
Oh no.
And I was like,
another light
I
bulb
was like,
moment.
podcast?
What's
And
that?
I was like, I don't know anything about podcasting. I'm like, I did a Zoom call. Like,
Yeah.
I could do a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And I just sat on it. I was like, well, no, it's not. I mean, we're going to post it in our Facebook group, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be. And then fast forward again, a few months later go by. And then I interviewed Paul Becker, whom you know from
Paul
Vancouver.
Becker, yes.
Or not
Wow.
Vancouver, Vancouver Island.
Yes.
And he said the same thing. Is this going to be a podcast episode?
Huh.
And I was like, you're the second person to tell me that.
What is this
I'm
podcast
like-
thing?
And
Yeah.
that's what, and then I was like, maybe I need to look into this. What is a podcast? How do you produce a podcast?
Yeah, I was wondering,
how
how
do
did
you
it-
distribute a podcast? How do you, where do I find an editor for all of these things suddenly was like, how do I do this thing? So I was holding on to hours and hours of interviews with, incredible people like Alex Wong, Brian Friedman, Stacey Tukey, Karmeet Bahar, Vincent Patterson, Paul Becker, Jamal Sims. I mean, those were the early interviews that I did. And then I was like, there's so much value in these stories that we're covering here that people need to hear.
Absolutely.
So I repurposed these Zoom calls. At the end of the day,
Oh, is that what they were?
they're just Zoom calls. They're Zoom calls
wow.
with me and my mentees and a guest.
And you turned them into
And then I
podcasts.
sent it to an editor who edited it, and then I hired actors to do the little intro and the outro that sounds like a radio show. I went on
amazing.
Fiverr, I think, and found them. And then I did hire somebody to create the artwork, but then I tweaked it myself on Canva.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did find somebody on Fiverr that would help me set up all the distribution channels. So we're on Spotify and iTunes and iHeartRadio and Amazon, Google, all the things. So, and then my coach actually referred me to somebody who does podcast coaching. I did one session with them, took as many notes as I could. And then I launched it officially in November of 2023 is when I officially
Incredible.
started. And it was the first episode I recorded a podcast. So that was my introduction. But this was, again, the inception. I didn't know what was going to come out of it. I didn't think there would be an audience to listen. I was like, I'm just going to put it out there. I've got all these recordings. I'm like, I might as well just every Sunday I release a new episode. And fast forward
100 episodes later.
100th episode. Here we are, which I'm really happy and proud of, because I read some crazy statistic that only 10% of podcasters make it to the 100th episode, and
Really?
the vast majority quit after like the first 5.
Wow. But I mean, you have a really good, business of dance. You can, interview literally anybody. And you have Tina Landon.
I just did Julie McDonald
Yes,
recently. I
Julie
did Tina
McDonald.
Landon recently. Kelly Sweeney. I've done her.
Stacey Tukey, Melina, like so many people.
Gosh, I'm trying to think. It's all a blur, all the people.
know.
And then even rewind last year, I did Industry Dance Awards and Gala of the Stars, and I was considered media.
Yep.
So I was on the red carpet next to E! News, Extra, People Magazine, Us Weekly.
That's crazy.
And Little Business of Dance podcast on the
With
red
your
carpet
microphone.
with my little microphone.
Hi.
And that now also became episodes for the Business of Dance as well, because it was Business of Dance at Gala of the Stars, Business of Dance
Right.
at Industry Dance Awards. And then I had a full circle moment. I mean, I interviewed some incredible people last year, and I will be interviewing more people in the next couple days as well for the next event. But Paula Abdul. Paula Abdul was like, is this like pinch me like real life? She was my first concert at 12.
Yep. First gig.
I remember dancing to her music. I'm sure you did as well.
Cold
growing
Hearted
up.
Snake. Love that song.
Forever you girl. Oh, I can't sing. But anyways, and then working with her for the one day also years ago. And then I brought my family to her concert in Vegas. We had VIP tickets thanks to Nappy Tabs, and got to meet her after the show with my family. So that was a special moment. But then to actually interview her on the red carpet, and I got to share that story with her too. That year, my first concert. And she like hugged me so tight, and she's like, I love that.
Sweet.
So, meeting your like teen idol was,
Yeah.
and then to think like, wow, I'm
here interviewing
never,
her.
and I interviewed at the Beverly Hilton in the same ballroom as the Golden Globe Awards.
Crazy.
Never in a million years did I ever even dream of a moment like that. And I think she's actually going to be back again this week, so I might get to interview her again. But it's funny because, as you can tell, I talk a lot, and I've always
It's a good thing.
I always had this, like, my husband would make jokes. He's like, you need your own talk show. You talk so much.
Just keep going.
And I actually genuinely was like, I would love a talk show, but no one would ever
You'd
hire
be
me.
so good at it. Oh my gosh, you're so easy to talk to, and you have like a really good on-stage persona. And your mom remember your mom with those Showtime? She would always talk a lot too. So I think you get.
Yeah, I probably get that from my
you get
mother.
that from your mom.
But yeah, so I always secretly wanted my own talk show, but never, even just this format that we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Never part of my career plans. Like, never even imagined doing something like this, and then opening so many doors. And I remember even just interviewing Tina Landon, I was like, man, I wish I had this podcast when I was in my dancer days.
Oh my gosh,
I've been
yeah.
making so many connections and relationships along the
Right.
way. I'm like, darn, my dance days, not that I'm done, but it's just like, I'm not in my peak years anymore, right?
Right.
But I've created all these new relationships, because I bring people that I've worked with. A vast majority of the people that I've had on the show are all people that I've known in some capacity. But now I'm getting to the phase where I'm reaching out to people that I don't know, that I'm like, oh, I'd like to interview you, and okay. And then now it's actually flipped the script, where I'm getting publicists pitching their clients to me.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that has been, lately I'm getting more and more of that. Robert Garland, artistic director of Dance Theater of Harlem, his publicist reached out to me. Like, never ever thought people, the CEO,
nice
CEO,
turn of
the
the
publicist for
tables.
Dance One, which is like the biggest dance
Amazing.
convention competition organization pretty much on the planet. Would you mind interviewing our CEO? I'm like, yeah, sure. So people that never would have given me the light of day,
Yeah.
are now pitching themselves to me. So that was a huge
It's a 360.
shift,
Yeah,
a huge
180,
360.
yeah.
So now, just to I should go back a little bit. So the Business of Dance was intended to be an online mentorship program only. That was my only intent. Then it just, the popcorn effect of the podcast.
Right. Shifted.
That
Evolved.
shifted. So now I'm doing both kind of side by side, because what people don't understand, even some of my guests that get confused, they're like, this is with other people. So I do these interviews with my mentees. This is actually the first episode that I'm doing without an audience.
Right. Yeah.
Without a virtual audience or even an in-studio audience.
Yeah.
So the format is very different. Most podcasts are in this kind of intimate environment, whereas mine is over Zoom predominantly. And then I do some in-person podcasts during my VIP days with my clients. So that's another thing that started. Now that we created this beautiful online business, then it was the one thing I felt like was missing is the human connection.
Yeah.
So I would spend 6 months getting to know these kids, and I'm like, I want to give you a real hug. Like, I want to, have that human connection. So that's when we started doing VIP days. So we did 2 in LA. We've done 1 in New York. We'll do another one in New York coming up in 2026. So now that's become a twice a year thing. 1 in LA, 1 in
So they fly out to meet you.
They
and you have
fly
a day.
out for a day. So a VIP day consists of a photo shoot, a demo reel shoot, a private dance class with the guests. Like we just had Kelly Sweeney. We just had Alex Wong in New York. And then we do a podcast, in-studio podcast taping with the live audience in front of us with the guest. And then this last one we did, we invited agents as well.
Oh,
so
nice.
to scout. We had 3 dancers that got scouted just from that session.
That's amazing.
And then the evening, we rent a party bus. We get dressed up. We go to a private dinner. We went to
that's the perfect day.
Tao. We've been to Tao twice. We've been to Boa Steakhouse, private dining. And then this past VIP day, we had a reality show taping as well. So one of my mentees, Lola, who's only 11, she has her own reality show called That Girl Lola. And another idea came about because her mom was registering her, and I was like, if you want your camera crew to, they can film. And once I spoke to the producer and she fully understood what we were doing, they're like, we could do a whole episode around this day.
You're like,
so
yes, please.
I was like, sure. I'm like, put a mic on me. Let's go. Follow me for a day. And we did. So now the mentees also get to say they were on this reality show, which is actually supposed to be coming out soon. Actually, by the time it might even be around the same time, like November of 2025, I think is the release date, but I don't know for certain. So, now we have a potential, I haven't seen it, but we will have an episode on That Girl Lola following our VIP day experience.
That's so cool.
And all the excitement that comes around that. So Business of Dance was a Canva presentation and a crazy idea. An online beta group of 10 that has evolved to, we've served, I think, over 300 dancers over the last 3 years that have come and gone, like they go in waves. And we've just actually started a new pro membership. So after a dancer completes the 6 months with us, then we have another level where they get another separate monthly call. They also get a pro vault with some other live coaching sessions that they didn't have access to before, and just that extra layer of support. Because what I found is during those first 6 months, I like to say that they created a product in that time. They get their headshots, their resumes, their demo reel, their website, their casting profiles. So now they have everything ready to submit. And some of them think they have everything that they need to know, but I'm like, oh, honey, we just created your packaging. Now we got to put it out to market and put it on the shelf and sell it. And that's the hard part, which is submitting and doing the castings and the self-tapes, auditions, and the in-person auditions. And then if you're lucky to book a job, and then dealing with the contracts and dealing with negotiations and dealing with whatever happens on set or on a job, and navigating those tough situations, and then keeping that work consistent.
Right.
So that's what the pro membership is for, is to help them with that next chapter, because a lot of them don't realize the road ahead, and the road ahead is actually harder than the first 6 months.
It's easy to get your stuff together and have like a nice little
it's like a school project.
Like, here it is.
But now we got to actually make money from it. Now we actually have to sell it. Now we actually sell the services of dance.
So how long is the first initial 6 months?
6 months.
And then the pro is just
the pro is either annual or monthly. They have the option of annual or monthly. And then all of our active mentees are then invited to our VIP days, which they can do either in LA or New York, at least right now. Who knows? Maybe I'll add more cities.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure it'll be like,
I was like,
international,
maybe Vancouver,
worldwide.
maybe Toronto, maybe Miami, maybe Vegas. I don't know. There's
all the places you want a vacation.
I'm like,
Greece,
where do I want to go?
Italy. Let's do one in Italy.
So podcast, the VIP days, the pro membership, that, like, it's just evolved. And then another thing too, which we have not officially created, and this is the first time I'm talking about it publicly, is we want to start a brand ambassador program to where we will actually pay our mentees to be our street team.
Amazing.
Basically, after being with us for a year and a half, they, at that point, they should have all their marketing materials in order. Hopefully they have an agent. Hopefully they've got a few gigs under their belt. They're leaders in their communities. They're a product of the product. Who better than to refer clients to than people that have done it?
Yes.
You know, and naturally they already do that, but I want to pay them now. I want to actually
like
pay
a
them.
walking
and
promotion.
then, yeah, it's like walking billboards. And I will literally, like, we haven't figured out all the micro details, but I want to give them like free merchandise after, you know, after every referral. If they reach certain levels, I want to actually get them a billboard in Times Square.
What?
So they're going to get paid. They're going to get a billboard. They're going to get free merch. They're going to, we're going to highlight them and do lives. Like, so I want to elevate them within our community, but also within the dance industry. I want them to create visibility for them. I want them to be leaders, you know, in their communities. I want them to make money, because this is the business of dance, and you can't do business without money.
Right? You've got to have both.
So, and I want to show them how to be little entrepreneurs, because I think sales is a very important life skill.
It is.
Because as a dancer, you don't realize, but you are selling yourself. So you have to know how to present yourself, package yourself.
Which has become even more and more important. Back in our day, we didn't have to do that as much. You had your headshot, you had your resume.
And that's it.
And that's it. Now you have your IG, you have your YouTube channel and your TikTok, everything. And it depends on how many follows. And it's so different now. So you absolutely need these skills to be able to make it.
Yes.
So let's talk about your mentees then. I know that they've done a lot of
They're
wonderful
doing
things.
amazing. I honestly, like, that's the best part of what I do, is to see them win. So many, I can't even count, have gotten signed to agents. The MSA and GTA and Block and DaCosta and Premier, and then a bunch of local agencies, depending on where they're from. So that has been beautiful to see. I've had one dancer that did the Super Bowl with Rihanna. I had 12 that did the Super Bowl with Usher. I had 2 that did the Super Bowl with Kendrick Lamar. I had a teen dancer that just did a Netflix TV series in Nashville, made $30,000. Her first
not too shabby.
big gig.
Following in your footsteps.
Graduate, the 30,000. And she literally finished high school a few days after it wrapped.
Incredible.
So, that was beautiful.
30 grand in the bank. She's like,
nice way to start
Vegas.
a new life, and then, kids booking Disney, print ads, commercials. My one mentee who's got her own reality show now, like Superstar and The Rise. Another kid just got another Netflix role. Like, to be honest, I can't even keep track. There's so many cruise ship contracts.
Right.
I've got a couple of them that did just booked Royal Caribbean cruises.
Modeling.
Tons of modeling. New York Fashion Week. I actually have 3 mentees doing the LA Fashion Week this weekend.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then I have 18 mentees that are doing Industry Dance Awards with JoJo Siwa. She's choreographing. My daughter, being one of them, is going to be there performing. So
exciting.
Yeah, even just this weekend, like, I can't even keep track. I have one dancer, I won't reveal because she hasn't signed her contract. One dancer that will be signed to MSA New York. Another dancer just got Premier Talent Management in Vancouver. 3 dancers that are doing LA Fashion Week this weekend. 18 dancers that are doing Industry Dance Awards. That's just the wins of this past week and a half, 2 weeks.
That's incredible. It's like proof that it's working.
It is definitely working. We have a proven formula, and even if they, like, the thing is, too, what we do in those first 6 months, they can pay off for years to come. Like, I'm hearing a lot of incredible wins to a lot of my alumni that are telling me, oh, I just got signed to this new agent, and oh, I just got this new booking, and I just got accepted to this university, and like Pace University is one of them. A bunch of kids have gone to CLI Conservatory. A bunch of kids are at the Space launch right now with Krista Miller. I've got one dancer who's at LA Establishment, so whether they want to go to college, whether they want to do these professional training programs, whether they want to get agents, whether they want to book jobs right away, like, my job is to support their goals. Whatever their goals are, I'm here for it. There is no, we don't have a cookie cutter program. Yes, there's some basic things that everybody needs,
but it can be personalized.
But it is very personalized. And the one thing too, which I love, there's a lot of mentorships out there, and I think the word mentorship can mean a lot of things. But what we have a hybrid model. So we have on-demand lessons where they get the core basics, which
Right.
everybody does, the headshots, resumes, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have our weekly calls where I do coaching calls with them, but I do one-on-one coaching on the calls. So you bring your homework assignments to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I will literally like critique it and edit it on the spot in front of everyone. So I'm
That's so
coaching.
helpful.
So like all the crazy formatting that goes into a resume, like I'm going in there. The websites, I'm going in there. Like I am literally
Hands-on. in
hands
there.
on. Like
Yeah.
I'm not like just
Telling
giving
you what to
feedback
do.
and go figure it out. No, I
Yeah.
actually like edit it myself.
Wow.
So I do those type of coaching calls, and then we sometimes we'll do the guest interviews where we bring in guest speakers, and then if I'm not available because these are on Sundays, then I'll bring in a guest coach that will teach on different topics. We've had etiquette on set, we've had unions, how to get into a unionized dance company, how to get dance on cruise ships, different mental skills, how to deal with anxiety and stress and fear, nutrition, acting classes. I have somebody doing next month a styling class.
Oh,
I have somebody
wow.
doing chakra breathing technique for actors class. So
Nice.
and all that becomes accessible into our pro membership. So that's where we get more specialized
Right.
coaching. So we've got that, and then I also have a client success manager who actually, do you know Danielle Cody? Did you ever meet?
Yes.
She was
do know
Dancer
Danielle
of the
Cody.
Year as well one year. Also, I choreographed her
yes.
solo one year. Anyways, she's from Ontario.
Yes.
So she was a professional dancer for many years, did cruise ships. She's also a mom now. So she's our client success manager. And her job is to hold our mentees accountable to their assignments. So she does the one-on-one accountability calls. So she keeps track of everybody. And then we have internal notes so that I know exactly what's going on with each mentee. I look at their profile to see their wins, what they're struggling with, what they need help with, and they have direct access to me and her as well. So we have an app that they used for direct communication, so they can basically text me at any time.
That's so nice.
So they have the texting abilities 24/7. They have me live weekly on the group calls. They have the one-on-one calls with our client success manager. They have the on-demand lessons, which they do at their own time. It's all online, so it's also very time efficient. I know it sounds like a lot, but
It gets
I would
done
say
pretty quickly.
2 hours, maybe 3 at most a week.
Nice.
So, because all of our dancers train 20, 40
Right.
cajillion hours a week, some homeschoolers. So they're busy. They're
Right.
busy. And I wanted to make sure that it was customizable. So the Sunday calls, they're recorded. You miss it, you can watch the replay. The one-on-one calls, you book them around your schedule. The on-demand lessons, you do it around your schedule.
Right.
When you want to message me, do it around your schedule.
You hear that,
and I'll be the
dancers?
crazy person.
No
if-
excuses.
If you message me at midnight and I'm awake,
You're answering.
I'm answering. I have
Yeah.
no business hours, which is probably not a good idea.
No.
But
You need to set some parameters
I
there,
need to set
Menina.
some boundaries. But
Yeah.
I'm I don't know. I'm that way. If I'm on my phone, I see a message come in, I'm
Yeah.
responding at whatever hours of the day.
Get
or
it
night.
done out of the way.
I get it done. I'm
Yeah.
a get it done kind of person.
Yeah. Which has
so y-
served you really well because you get everything done. It's crazy.
I do get everything done. Even today's day. Let me tell you about today's day. So I flew in from Vancouver late last night. We didn't
Yeah.
get to our hotel till midnight. I woke up at 7:30, got my hair and makeup done, came here. Then I have to run some errands. Then I have to drop off my daughter with Jojo at JoJo's studio for the first set of rehearsals.
Right.
Then I have another podcast on someone else's show.
Oh, wow.
While my daughter's in rehearsals, and then after that podcast recording, pick up my daughter. That'll be 8 o'clock. Rolls around.
I'm getting anxious
just
just listening to all this. I'm like, I can't. I have
and I'll probably go to my computer at the end of the night to answer
crazy.
emails and check
Yeah.
in with my team because I also
Yeah.
have a team that works remotely. So yeah, like that's the day in the life of.
Yeah, it's always been incredible because I only ever see you when you come out here to, unless I go
Do
to
my
like,
events.
do your events, right? HST, or if I go home and like you're pregnant and I do photography for
Yes,
you. That's
yes.
when I do a shoot. But the only time is here, and you're always so calm, so collected. And I ask you like, hey, how's everything going? You're like, yeah, we just lost like the venue for this, and you're just so calm. I'm like, I would be blowing a gasket, and you're always just so calm and collected. And I know inside you probably like there's things going on, but you never
course.
show it. And I just want to commend you on that. That's incredible because you hold it together so nicely always. And
Thank you.
It's one of the reasons why I think you're so successful. You don't let anything get to you where it tears you down so much that you just like, you're like, I give up. Like you're just like, oh well, another one bites the dust. Let's go this way. Like it's just, you're just, so positive, and I love that. Like it's a nice thing that you've created. As your friend, I'm incredibly proud. I'm proud to know you. And I know that the business of dance will just keep growing and growing, and you'll have, your 1,000th episode, and I'm going to be
gosh,
here.
I'm like, can I talk that much?
I'm sure you can. There'll be so much more to talk about.
We actually have I think I've actually recorded more than 100 episodes, or just in editing.
In the vaults, yeah.
In vaults that I haven't released yet. But this will be the 100th. We're going to bump this up. Sorry, other people, but we're going to bump this up to the 100th.
It's got to be on the 100th.
The 100th. Because I thought about it. It was creeping up. We're at 90-something right now. And I was like, wait a minute. What am I going to do for the 100th?
All right.
And then this was also a spontaneous thing, too.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm going to be in
text
LA.
late last night, about the night. I'm like, what?
When was it? Like
okay.
a week ago?
A week ago, yeah.
A week ago. I was like, I'm going to be in LA next week.
Might as well
My daughter's going to be in rehearsals. What can I do during that time? Let's record a podcast.
Yeah.
And then I was like, who could I get? First, I was thinking, do I interview someone? And I was like, no, I'm going to flip the script. Somebody's going to interview me. But I'm like, who do I know that knows me well enough to host? And then I was like, well, first of all, I've never interviewed you for the business of dance. So I was like, well, who better than to have my longtime friend, Linda. And then when you said yes, I was very happy.
Yay.
So thank you.
I was honored to be asked. Thank you. I didn't do much interviewing. I just let you talk because you're
sorry.
I was
like this.
I love it. No, I was like, thank God, because I don't normally interview people, so it's just nice to. It's more like a chat because we never.
Well, that's what
we always have kids around, or we're teaching, or we're in the middle of running, and we're like, hey, how you doing? Everything's good. How's it going? And so this is nice to actually sit down and listen to the entire journey, which is I've been a part of, but it's been like in and out a lot. So I've kind
our lives
are always doing that.
Well,
but it's so great to see, and the truth is loyalty and friendship, it does account for a lot. So your young, dancers that are out there, create those relationships and be loyal and be trustworthy and be accountable, because like 3 decades and we've worked together so many times, and every time I love it. I always look forward to it because we have a great time and great products come from it. So, you were my muse for photography for many years. I should bring out those gorgeous photos.
But
you
know how to capture me, though. I've shot with a lot of photographers, but you always, like, all your photography has always been like on point, which is why I always asked you for every pregnancy.
Because there's no pressure. I feel like it's just friends. I'm just shooting a friend, so like there's no pressure, and we're just like, let's try this, and you're always game for anything. I'm like, throw on a scarf, let's do a silhouette.
Sure. I'm like, I'm your guinea pig. Do whatever you want.
Whereas like when it's, I feel like you're because I'm the perfectionist, and I remember you always telling me like, just Linda, just put it out there. Like, just don't wait for it to be perfect. Like, throw it out there, and you're definitely the epitome of that. You were like, it's not perfect, but it's out there. I'm going to put it out there because somebody will bite. At least the idea is there. Whereas if you wait for perfection for it to be perfect, it'll never be perfect. It'll never be perfect.
Yep. So better done than perfect.
Exactly.
I tell my mentees that all the time
because
sometimes they're all hung up on their homework. Because someone's like, my headshot, my resume is just good enough. I'm like,
get it done.
It's done. Just get it done.
Yeah. Just finish it.
Put
it's
it
fine.
out in the world.
It's
Just
fine.
go. And so you could get caught up with your choreography, the way you look, how you're going to an audition, like just get it done.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people get stuck in the analysis paralysis.
They do.
And I think that's just a life lesson in general, because most people.
That's a good one. Never heard that. Analysis paralysis.
Yeah, that's a word? Is that a word?
Yes. No, it's good. And it rhymes too. That's amazing.
Yeah, because most people think of the things they want to do, but they don't necessarily take action.
No.
And taking imperfect action, to me, is the key to success.
Yes.
I didn't know what I was doing when I started this podcast.
Right.
I didn't know what I was doing even when I started the online mentorship program.
Right.
I didn't know what I was doing when I was starting the Hollywood Summer Tour. I didn't know what I was doing when I moved here with, a dream and a clothes and a car. Yep. I didn't know what I was doing when I got my work visa.
It's a beautiful thing, though, because it grows organically, and it kind of pushes you in the direction that you're naturally supposed to go. Whereas if you're like, I have this idea, and if it's not working, you just get you get discouraged, and you just like pack up and go home. But if you come in with this like, I don't know, like I kind of have a vision, I know where I want to be, I know I want to be successful, and you just kind of let the world kind of push you, and you always make something happen. Whether it's successful or not, you learn from it, and I think that's absolutely like just so important to be able to learn from the things and not let it tear you down, and just be like, I give up, I'm going home, this sucks, because
it's very easy to quit.
Especially nowadays with our kids, they're like, if I don't get like right now, it's It's not the
Well, I think
not the way to go.
I think I attest to going back to our competition days.
Yeah.
I was not the best dancer. You were a much stronger
Oh,
dancer.
no, she's lying.
no.
She's lying.
She's
No.
lying. No, you were always like, your technique was flawless. You were the beautiful. I remember so many people was like, Linda. If there was somebody that was going to make it, it was Linda. It was not me.
Nuh-uh.
Ask anybody from our generation. Nobody expected me to have any kind of success. I think when I moved, it was like, okay, bye.
I beg to differ, because you were like a light on stage. You were so, I loved watching you dance. Like,
I loved watching
always.
you. I had leg envy.
Leg envy. Oh God.
You had the beautiful technique and the gorgeous feet and the gorgeous leg to your ear. I'm like, I never had
Not
that.
anymore. Now it's like, oh, my bones. What's happening to my
Good
bones?
Lord, I can't even do a split
Right?
anymore.
What
let alone
happens after like 30? Your
children,
bones just
children in age.
children in age.
Children in age, but
Oh my God.
no, I think going back to my competition days though,
Yeah.
because I lost a lot, like I was happy if I placed,
Right.
let alone got first. Like, so I was used to losing.
Mm-hmm.
Even auditions. I remember there was some
my
auditions where
gosh.
I didn't get it, but
Yeah.
like, you got cruise ship contracts. I never did.
Yeah.
You did. Dudley, did you write the movie? I remember all of our friends got it. I never got it. So there was auditions, there was competitions where I didn't get it.
Yeah.
There was many times where I didn't get it, but in a strange way, there was a lot of learning lessons. So I was used to failing.
Did it light a fire though underneath you a little bit more, like, because you didn't
Yes.
get those gigs, so you're like, I'm gonna
It did. It did
get
create
something bigger.
I did want to fight my way through, and yes, there was days where I got discouraged and I was disappointed. You know, it was hard when you and all the other friends, they were all working on something. Like, I wanted to be on that job, you know.
Aw.
So like, yes,
I feel like you booked a lot of stuff that I didn't book, so I think it was like here and
maybe
there.
I don't know. I guess I have memories of
Yeah.
big auditions that everybody got, and I felt like I was the only one that didn't. But no, I think it did. I did fight, but I also fought to find my own lane, because I think because I wasn't the strong technical dancer, and I think we were in the era where hip hop was just getting into the studios,
started, kind of.
and I kind of gravitated a little bit more into that realm. So a lot of our generation didn't have that training. So when I came for the commercial dance world, that's where I felt
Almost at home.
At home, because I was definitely more of a performer, commercial dancer than I was a competition technician, which is, so that's where I had to find my lane, which was hard. But I also had to deal with loss and failure. And now I say success is just a series of failures and never quitting.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's ultimately been the story of my life.
Yeah.
Just never quitting.
Because what is success? Success is constantly evolving. It's always
of course.
changing.
The goalpost keeps changing.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeps moving.
So you never are really successful because you never know how much farther you could go.
Well, yeah, I just thought getting a visa was like,
right? Yes,
was like,
I've
yes,
made it.
Score. Then booking my first job, yes, score.
Yes.
Then first tour, yes, score. You know, like every milestone feels like this is it.
Yeah,
this is
I'm
the moment.
finally successful.
Can it get any better than
And
this?
it does.
But then it doesn't just keep going up; it goes up and down and around.
Absolutely.
And that's when it's very easy for people to get lost and to get discouraged and to quit. But for me, it was always like, I felt like you're on a boat and you're just going with the current.
Yeah.
You know, and things get rocky at times, and then sometimes you fall over and you get back up and you flip yourself, like,
and you find yourself somewhere completely different,
and then you're somewhere different, and then there's another storm that comes, and then you flip again, and then there's a rainbow, you know. So it's
then
just,
what a colorful life you have. Like, you know, like, wow, all the different things that you've tried, all the
married
businesses
kid, 3
you've
kids,
started.
businesses, 40 countries, travel.
40 countries, seriously?
Yeah,
Amazing.
Yeah. Thanks to the tour life, I traveled,
Yeah.
but also thanks to my parents too. I traveled a lot as a kid, and then that was another thing too. Everyone thought like, oh, you're not gonna be able to travel when you have kids. Well, I just went to 6 countries this summer with my kids, so about that travel.
Don't ever put a limitation on Menina. She will bust right
Tell me
through
I
that.
can't do something, and I will show you how.
The many ways that I can.
And I think that's been the story of my life. And I think because I felt like even my own family has doubted me, and I always felt like I had something to prove.
Yeah.
But not even just to prove to others, but even to prove to myself that I can do this thing.
Yeah.
So whether it be mentoring dancers online or doing podcasting or producing events, like that was not a part of the original vision. The original vision was little 12-year-old Menina looking at Star Search and going, I just want to dance.
Yeah. I want to get was it 4 stars or 5 stars? How many stars was it?
I think it was four
was
stars.
It 4 stars, right?
And Star Search is coming back.
No way.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And my friend Tiana, who I have a podcast with today, is working on the show on the production
Amazing.
side. I'm so jealous. Like that
There
was
you go.
that was the
I
show.
remember watching that show, and there was a dance group there. I don't remember what they were called, but they had like 2 boys and like 4 or 5 girls with the big hair. And I was like, oh, it's just rooting for them to win.
I was obsessed with 4 boys and a babe. I don't even know who they are. If somebody knows who they are, I love
Please
you.
let us know.
And Personality Plus.
I remember Personality Plus. I remember that name. I can't remember where they
4
were.
girls,
but
I think.
Yes.
And the other one was 4 boys and 1 girl. I remember New World. You know, so many of my dance friends were on that show, and I watched them, but I didn't even know who they were at the time. And then years later, I ended up working with them. So,
yeah. I feel like our generation, like, was just so special, honestly, because like we grew up with like Stacy Tukey was in our little dance group, and like we had Melina, and she was in our group, but Melina. And,
I went to high school with her.
Paul Becker, Melina, and just seeing all these people just go out and just become so successful, famous, and just it's really cool. And it's just so cool.
Yeah, Melina, she's another. We went to high school together. We were on the dance team together. She's actually one of my guest coaches from time to time. She's been on the podcast as well. Yeah. And our kids do swimming lessons every Thursday together.
So cool. Yeah.
So I see her from time to time as well.
That's so nice.
No, it is really beautiful to see, and I want nothing but success for everyone in dance, and more importantly for the next generation.
And that's what makes you successful, is that you're so giving and open with everything that you know. So I wish you nothing but the best. I know we're going to have many, many years more. We'll be sitting here at 60, like 70. We've been friends for 55 years, and the business of dance now is, so.
Maybe I'll retire by then.
Yeah,
maybe I'll sell the business and actually retire. And
I don't think, you'll come up with something else.
I'll maybe business of dance will die, but then I'll birth something else.
You'd be like dancing for retirement.
Oh, I thought about that. I was like, if I'm a senior citizen, if I'm still in shape, I could totally see myself going to nursing homes.
So would. You would be hosting all kinds of things in the nursing home. Like, let's do
Dance will never leave my life.
Chair dancing. And 1, 2, yes.
Like, and reach, and leg stretch.
Okay, I think we should wrap it up now because it's getting a little...
Business of Dance 20 years from now. On the 1000th episode.
Oh, my God.
Well, thank you so much, Linda, for being on the show and for hosting.
Thank you for having me. This has been really cool. This is beautiful. I want this to be my living room.
I know. This is a beautiful space, and what a special place, special time. The fact that I lived in North Hollywood to be here with you and to talk about the journey and over the last several decades, and to here we are, and even Business of Dance being featured on over 400 media outlets.
I have a whole list, like MSNBC, has so many. Province, The
Forbes,
Sun,
Success, MSN,
Forbes,
ABC, NBC,
Dance
Fox,
Magazine.
Inside Dance, Billboard. Yeah, I never.
I did a screenshot, and it's like every single, like ABC, AP, NBC, Fox, Star. Oh my gosh, Yahoo, Dance Spirit, Market Watch, National. I cannot see. This is what happens.
Insider.
National Business at Global News, Dance Plug, Informa Dance, Tri-City News, Summit. Oh my gosh, like
Vancouver Sun.
Like this. I don't know if you can see, but what? Like this is what? Every single. I think the only thing that's missing is like Disney. Which is probably owned by something.
Disney, Nickelodeon. No, Nickelodeon's
Right?
not a media outlet. Well, Disney's not really.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful I get to do what I do, and despite the ups and downs, the leaps, the turns, the twists, and the peaks and valleys, like I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be at the 100th episode. I'm grateful to be able to serve dance community the way that I do, and create a business model that aligns with my family, and now I get to be a dance mom.
Yay!
Which
best
is another
role
role
ever.
I don't know. That's a tough role. I'm adjusting.
You gotta adjust all those hats so that one can fit on the top
I'm like
somewhere.
Dance teacher, dance judge, dance producer, dance podcast host, dance
mentor,
dance mom. I don't know what other titles
dance
I can add.
Producer, dance broadcaster, dance interviewer, dance. Oh my God. Yeah.
Anyways.
There's no more room. You gotta.
Anything is possible. I don't know what I'll come up with next, but we'll see.
Okay, last thing. What is your tiny piece of advice for anybody out there struggling maybe, or don't know where to go or what to do? We got like a minute left. what would you say to?
Follow your heart. Gosh, I'm
Oh, you're gonna cry. Follow your heart. It won't lead you astray. It won't. Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry. Stop. Follow your heart.
Thinking of my younger self.
Yeah,
Just follow your heart. There's gonna be people that will doubt you.
absolutely.
But you have to ultimately believe in yourself. Woo!
You can do this. Yeah, and you
have
definitely.
to be able to believe in yourself, because if you don't, no one else will.
Truer words. True words.
And I also, aside from the follow your heart part, follow your passion and figure out a way to monetize it, whatever that is, if it's dance or anything in life. Because that's when life is fulfilling, when you actually love what you do
Absolutely.
and do what you love. Oh gosh!
Because when you do what you love, it doesn't feel like work. It's not a job.
Well, this is supposed to be work right now. I get to just chit chat with my best friend.
Yeah.
And reminisce about life.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, why did I do that?
Aw, because it's true. Following your heart is not easy, and it's not a straightforward path. There's a lot to that. It's easy not to follow your heart and be safe. And you definitely, I mean, we both try not to do that.
Do the scary thing.
Do the
Step
scary
out.
thing. Follow your heart.
I was actually just telling my son last month, because he did his first ninja class, and he was saying he was so scared, and I said, honey, you just have to do the scary thing, and then you won't be scared anymore.
Aww.
And then after the class, he was like, that was so fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, so what did you learn today? I do the scary thing, and I'm not scared anymore.
Oh, there you go. Let's end it on that. Do the scary thing, and you won't be scared anymore. Me and I love you. You're amazing.
Thank you for watching.
Thank
I'm sorry
you so
I'm crying.
much. Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing this, and all the best.
Until next time.
Do the scary thing.
Do the scary thing.
And that concludes another episode of the Business of Dance podcast.
We hope you found today's conversation insightful and gained valuable knowledge.
Be sure to join us next time for more inspiring interviews with top professionals in the dance industry.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to The Business of Dance on your favorite platform and take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated.
This podcast is brought to you by the Business of Dance online mentorship program to help aspiring professional dancers create their dream dance careers.
Thank you for listening. Until next time.